According to the Tennessee Literacy Coalition, 1 out of every 8 adults in Tennessee are lacking basic literacy skills. Local author Leanne Hoover has written about one man's journey to literacy in her book, Reading with Ralph, A Journey in Christian Compassion. She and Ralph are here this morning to talk about their journey together.
Hi, Chris.
And it's a journey of faith, isn't it?
It is. It truly is, Chris. You know, when this came together and I actually met Ralph, and Ralph's my adult literacy student, but Ralph's my friend. We go to church together, and he was put in my path. I would just see him all the time.
And Ralph, why did you decide you needed to read again?
Well, I like to learn to read. You know, all my life I can't even read. I started, first I thought I would go to the library, and that's why I'm the manager that helped to find me a night school. I won't take that or the place there, you know. Then he told me the other day, and that lady told me in the library, you go down there in the corner of Thomas Street, you know, and right there see a Lily Council.
And you went to the literacy council and met Miss Leanne here.
Yes.
Okay. And talk to me about the first time you met Ralph.
Well, walking through the front door is the first step, and that's the hardest.
Right.
And when Ralph came in and expressed his desire to learn how to read, at that time I had only taken the first half of the tutor training, but I knew, and our executive director, Nada Weekly, also knew that we wanted to help Ralph. We just felt an overwhelming urge to help Ralph. And Chris, 7 years later, we're still working together once a week. And at that time, people knew me for the Santa Train tradition with my writing, but I would always tell them stories about what Ralph and I were doing together. And they said, that's your next book.
Right.
Never knowing that I would go into the adult Christian genre, but that evidently has become my path.
What were some of the big obstacles with Ralph that you had to overcome to get him to the point where he's reading now?
Well, we continue to overcome obstacles, but with Ralph, this man is very driven, very dedicated and determined. So that alone, someone wanting to do it and focusing and doing it every day, Ralph makes it easy. He goes, he studies, he spends a lot of time in the library at First Broad Street at our church. Just doing that alone has made this be a pleasure. I mean, Ralph really works hard.
You enjoyed the lessons with Miss Leanne?
No, I enjoyed every bit of it.
All right, good job. and when you started writing this book,
yes,
it's talk about the journey from working with him to writing this book. You talked about it briefly there, but just talk about it a little bit.
When Ralph and I have become friends, and we are together in our Sunday school class and at church, and we had just a lot of different things that would happen along our literacy journey. And Ralph's kind of funny with things, stories, and I would journal what we were doing together. And so in my journal, I just kept looking at that, and it was just really a journey of faith. So that's where A Journey in Christian Compassion comes from with that. In turn, Ralph enjoys receiving mail. Could you imagine? We all like to get mail. Well, now Ralph has over 200 postcards from all over the world, and he's kept every one because people started wanting to write Ralph. So that was huge in itself. So then we corresponded with some students.
Got all kinds of correspondence from students
at
here.
Johnson Elementary. And
just
Ralph
lots of stuff.
Went to school.
And you got to read all of it. All right, that's a great story, and it's a great book. It's just a great journey for you two folks to make together.
And I'm just so proud.
And there
is
all the information. You can order this book and read it for yourself there at Facebook.com. And right now, we're going to head over to the kitchen and have some great yummies with our folks from